Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Daily Objective, and we're going to be talking about the year 2022 in review, the good, the bad, everything else. We want to know what you think, so go ahead and comment in the chat. Send us a super chat with your thoughts, what you thought was a highlight or low light, etc., and leave a like on the video on YouTube. I'm here with a guy who, boy, did he have a year. We just can't wait to review. He's currently stationed in Pittsburgh, where he is fighting the ultimate culture battle, that of producing art. It's Mark Pellegrino.
Hey, Rucka.
Hey, so Emmanuel just became a member. Welcome to the channel. Now that's a 2022 highlight for me. So yeah, it's been such a big year. All right, so one of the things I guess we should mention right off the bat is Franco Harris of the Steelers passed away, and you're in like Pennsylvania as we speak. So
right. It was right before the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. They were going to be honoring him at the game. I think they were going to be retiring his jersey, and he had to go and pass away. But apparently a great guy, really, really cool dude who was very generous with his time, and a great football player. I mean, he was a running back for the Steelers when the Steelers were in their dynasty mode, when they were like the greatest, most fearsome, most physical smash mouth football team in the NFL.
Wow. Is the Immaculate Reception like it sounds like an evangelical sort of doomsday kind of thing?
So Terry Bradshaw got pushed out of the pocket. He's running to his right. He throws to his left. It deflects off the receiver's hands, I think, or the defensive back's hands, falls forward into Franco Harris's hand. He runs for about 50 or 60 yards for a touchdown. With only like 5 seconds on the clock, they win the game.
Beautiful. That's like some O.J. Simpson level achievement in football.
Yeah, minus the end to O.J. Simpson's career.
Yeah, no kidding. So also we also lost the Queen this year. That's she was old.
She was very old.
She was very old.
She had a good run.
She had a great run. I don't agree with the monarchy existing. And if I was born as a monarch family, I would denounce, or I would renounce my monarchist status and dedicate myself to advocating. I would use that exposure, use that attention to advocate for capitalism and individual rights and all of that stuff. However, given that she chose to stick with the game plan, she acted with poise and grace and dignity through her life.
That's the least you can expect if you're giving them that massive multi-million-dollar stipend every year.
You're not wrong. However, there are a lot of other monarchs that do all types of terrible things. Now, she doesn't have the power to like execute or anything like that. Anyway, yeah, I guess she can burn in hell. Is that what? No, that's not nice to say. She's got, surviving relatives. Yeah, the monarchy is trash. We should not pay that much attention to it. It's pretty strange and absurd, but yeah, go ahead.
And yet we do. We're still enamored of this thing called aristocracy. Mm-hmm. And we try to make our celebrities and politicians aristocrats too, even though especially the politicians are not. I can see some celebrities because they're the aristocracy of ability, right? They've actually done something, many of them, to merit that status of celebrity. So, I mean, I would love it if we could make something like a hereditary monarchy illegal.
Yeah, along with any other type of wealth redistribution and all of that. Now, why do you think Ayn Rand had kind of an enamoration, if that's a word, with aristocracy? I think you see it a little bit in her literature, in like The Fountainhead, and in Atlas Shrugged. She obviously wasn't advocating for like a caste system or anything like that, or any kind of like birthright when it comes to moral stature or anything like that. But she did seem to have a little bit of like an emotional positive response to aristocracy, which I think is sort of like, maybe it's just the idea of people like with very good aesthetics, like respect, very good manners, just kind of like people who are like good stock, so to speak, rather than kind of low rent, kind of low class people who act low class and don't really respect wealth. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine it comes from the characteristics of some that people would associate with aristocracy: grace, poise, as you said, diplomacy, intelligence, literacy, worldliness, you know, and a command of self. I think that's what we commonly associate with an aristocratic class, and also big enough to handle some world problems, right? The aristocratic class definitely had, especially in feudal times, a great deal of responsibility. I mean, with their ill-gotten gains came obligations to the people around them that sometimes put them in harm's way. So there's that too: the courage, the bravery, you know, maybe she means those qualities.
Yeah, well said. Speaking of aristocracy, Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp was televised and was highly viewed. I didn't pay close attention to the trial, but my understanding is that Johnny Depp ended up being kind of vindicated after he was like the target of really bad smearing. So
yeah, she's clearly a sociopath, and maybe her pathology made her think she was going to come out of this unscathed. She'd be able to cry or look a certain way and convince people that she was the abused party, but that's not the way it turned out. And we got to see how utterly dark and screwed up some people are. I didn't like looking at the other side of Johnny Depp. I like looking at his work, but when I see what's underneath it, it's really a morally, philosophically, intellectually bankrupt dude who's really fractured and really needs to get his shit together. So it was unfortunate I had to see that part of him, but somehow it translates into good work when he's working. I don't know how, but it does.
People are complex. But yeah, like there's sort of this worship of celebrity in the world, in America, everywhere, it seems. And so like someone like Johnny Depp or someone like Amber Heard, they're not only ungodly wealthy, but like people treat them like royalty. So I imagine they might develop kind of a cynical view of people, kind of like this Gail Wyman view, like anyone can be bought, or like no one really stands for anything if they're just going to like throw it all away when Johnny Depp walks into the room. So maybe that kind of
I don't know that Amber Heard would merit that kind of treatment, and if people were doing that for her, I would probably acquire the same point of view. I think Johnny Depp has earned status as an actor and celebrity. He's done amazing work out there. He's a very talented actor. He just has personal issues that he's got to work his way through, I think, in a more productive way. But he's earned, I think, his status as a guy that deserves to be respected for what he does.
Oh, he definitely does deserve to be respected. But I mean, I imagine he's seen some things. Like I imagine he's seen, I don't know, women who are married throw themselves at him, just stuff like that makes him kind of think, I mean, everyone has their price.
You're hearing this third hand.
I'm making it up. I'm not.
No. I'm saying
okay.
You're hearing what I'm about to say is third hand because it's going through another actor who knows him. He actually is apparently a very gentle, assured person. So I don't think this cynicism has cut into his heart, at least from what I understand from another actor who knew him and worked with him.
Okay, well that's good. So when you say he's like got like a broken moral compass, is that what you were saying? Like,
I mean, how could you not if you're an alcoholic and a drug addict? I mean, that's what essentially that is, right? Massive character flaws that you have no conscious mechanism of working on, so you anesthetize yourself to the pain that they inevitably bring. And I mean, a program, at least, is the beginning steps of acquiring a philosophy to help you navigate the world a little bit better and deal with your anxiety and pain and psychic issues. He just doesn't have that. He needs something to clean that mess up. And I think he'd be a better actor for it.
Yeah. I can only imagine working on your personal character makes you a better artist and a better actor and all of that.
Although there is the mythology, I think, amongst many actors that if they go to therapy and get cleaned up, they won't have any of that neurosis to work off of. I know that my mentor's mentor, Sanford Meisner, thought that art came from neurosis. And I think that that perspective sort of saturates the artistic community, right? They don't want to be, they don't think they should become conscious of the things that move them, or in negative and positive ways, because they think if they do, they'll no longer be moved, right? It's that concept that, when we learn about the sparrow, we're no longer mystified by it, like science and the romantic poetic connection to nature are antithetical to each other, and I don't think they are. So I don't know if he doesn't, and maybe he sought help and it just hasn't worked out, or maybe he's still working through stuff now, but I think actors suffer from that error in reasoning, that if they get it straightened out, shit ain't gonna go right anymore.
Oh yeah, songwriters too, all types of artists think their creativity depends upon them doing drugs and stuff like that. And if like you quit doing drugs or you quit drinking, then like immediately your creativity often is stunted, and you think, oh man, I need to get back to the bottle or the drugs. But it's about that long-term kind of recalibration, the long-term flourishing that kind of brings about your ultimate creative potential. But a lot of people, they're not willing to go for the long game. So yeah, Johnny Depp's trial was kind of like maybe the sort of, and like in a weird way, like the antithesis to the Me Too movement. And there's a lot of good about the Me Too movement. It was necessary, I think, a reasonable view says. And of course, there were excesses, and Amber Heard's treatment of Johnny Depp is sort of like the excess, or like the corrupting force within the Me Too scene. And Johnny Depp got vindicated, raising the question of how many alleged abusers won't ever be vindicated. Also, how many lying victims, alleged victims, how many actual victims are not going to come forward because people like Amber Heard are abusing the system, so to speak. So it's just, it's disheartening, but also a little bit of a positive sign to see somebody getting vindicated who was smeared like Johnny Depp.
Yeah, I mean, we understand that movement had to happen, especially in Hollywood. People use positions of power to abuse others, and that needs to be exercised out of our system. But there was a mantra going on during that movement that I thought was very harmful, which is just believe women. No, you don't just believe anybody. You have to produce evidence. You have to show us that what you're saying is credible. Assertions and accusations don't fly in a free country, particularly when the person you're asserting these things about, or the person you're accusing, can lose their career, lose their livelihood based on just the things that you say.
Mm-hmm. A couple super chats. Marilyn with $2 says abdicate. I don't remember what. Maybe I was fishing for a word earlier.
Yeah, I think you would abdicate. You would abdicate your royal responsibilities.
Mm-hmm. Right. Marilyn with $5 more says Cheryl worked hard at becoming a Taggart wife. Quote: Jim wasn't worthy of her. Francisco earned being a D'Anconia with his mills and investments. So yeah, you can live up to the wealth that you inherited, or you can you can come from the ghetto and become worthy of wealth. But some people, they're born into it and they don't respect it. And that's the sort of the unfortunate thing. Jonathan Honig with $9.99 says, in honor of Razi. Now, there's a guy in a position of power that is not abusing me. I hope he's not abusing you. He's not using it to, get away with anything that I'm aware of. So he's sort of the antithesis to Harvey Weinstein and guys like that. So that's
good. I think, isn't this the year that Harvey Weinstein got sentenced as well? Didn't he finally, didn't they finally lower the boom on him?
I don't remember. I think it might have been more a year or two before that even. It was a while back, actually. Yeah, I was still in LA when he got sentenced. The actual case that got him locked up was kind of a sketchy one. I actually knew the girl who actually got him locked up, Jessica Mann. I took an improv class with her many years back in LA.
Oh, do tell. Let's hear the dirt.
just like she had mentioned to me at the time that she had been dating a producer and that there's all this drama and stuff like that. And she's herself a very sensual person. She once climbed on me for an improv scene in class. She seemed to really find our teacher attractive. That doesn't entitle Harvey Weinstein to do anything inappropriate to her. But the case that got him locked up made some people raise their eyebrow, kind of like they were dating for a while and she met his parents and stuff like that. And then at some point after he was outed, she said that he had been like abusing her. It was a strange case.
That's really terrible.
Hmm?
That's terrible if that's the case, even for a creepy guy like that. I mean, don't jump on the bandwagon.
I mean, anytime somebody's found guilty in court, I say, let's be sober and not like cheer, because court is serious business. So even like when Derek Chauvin was sentenced and people were cheering, I said, a guilty verdict is serious business. We don't want to become mobbish and excitable. Speaking of excitement, we got $5 from Robert Naser saying with a musical note emoji. He says, I know musicians who, the more they learn music theory, okay, maybe he's not singing, the less creative they were. That's not inherent in music education, but it does happen.
Oh, sure. I mean, there's aspects of, I think when you're performing, you have to be free of all that stuff, right? You can't be thinking about all of it. You have to perform, you have to be acting, you have to be in the moment. And the more of that stuff that clouds you, it's going to impede your freedom and your access to your subconscious. So he's right about that. You don't want rules to get in the way when you're working, but they're valid to form, your character, and they're valid as an approach to something, but throw them away when you're in the moment. That's all that matters.
That's right. All right. What else happened this year? We had Russia invading Ukraine. That's not going to make anybody's day. So I remember when that happened, it was like early 2022, like March or February. And there was like kind of a split on the right. There were like the right wingers who they thought that was really cool, and Putin is a badass, they thought, while others said, whoa, this is too far. Like we're not about this, right, guys? And it looked like there was going to be kind of a split among conservatives or Republicans or whatever. And time has definitely been on the side of the pro-Putin right in as far as they become the winning voice on the right. So in one instance of many, especially this year, of seeing how detached the new Republicans are from the sort of average, basically decent person out there. Like these guys have just gone so far off the deep end that they see any like pro-Ukraine lip service as like shilling for Ukraine and, oh, we're sending them all our money, as if we don't send our tax dollars to every other goddamn country in the world, right? Like it's all about Ukraine and it's all one big racket, and Candace Owens out there saying that, oh, this is one big conspiracy. Like it's just, Jesus, these people, how low will they sink? So
low enough to possibly nominate Donald Trump again.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be interesting looking ahead. Oh, it's going to be nothing if not entertaining. Kathleen with 10 pounds says, so much happens in 365 days. It's important to reflect and review. Otherwise, time seems to fly so fast and we forget how much there was to enjoy, appreciate, and improve. Happy 2023 to you all, with a heart emoji. Now that is a nice super chat. Thank you, Kathleen. So speaking of, so anyway, Ukraine and Putin, anything to add to that, or did we pretty much?
No, I think we definitely are seeing how corrupt the populist right is, and they're joining up with the libertarians too to try to sabotage Ukraine and sidle up to Putin and his traditional Orthodox Christian outlook, whatever it is he's trying to impose on the rest of the world, or on that little part of the world. They've been exposed, but they've been exposed for a while.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing was, remember there was this whole like punching a Nazi meme going around, like Richard Spencer was punched in the street back in 2016, and it raised this conversation like, should you punch a Nazi? And of course, the pro free speech side, including objectivists, said no, you can't punch anyone for their ideas. You mustn't. And so the right, the new right, all of them, of course, they said, don't punch Richard Spencer just because you think he's a Nazi. You can't just start punching anyone you think is a Nazi. And then Putin literally invades a neighboring country on the basis that he believes there are Nazis inside of that country. He believes Ukraine has Nazis in it, and he's going to denazify Ukraine. So more than a punch, he actually takes a military and invades Ukraine while being informed and advised by postmodern type philosophers around him. The spiritual guiders of Putin are like the worst of the left, the worst that the 20th century has come up with, other than that they're not like gender woke. They're not into all that part of wokeness. But other than that, completely subjectivist, completely, as postmodern or whatever as you would expect from the left. This guy is invading an actual country on the allegation that they are Nazis. And the populist right thinks that's pretty good. God help us. So, indeed. Yes. Speaking of the right-wingers being out of touch with normal people, the red wave that was predicted for the last couple of years did not happen. And as Ben Shapiro tweeted on election night, from red wave to red wedding.
Red what?
Red wedding. You ever watch Game of Thrones? There was a big wedding scene where they were slaughtered in the wedding room. It was pretty, red wedding.
Yeah, well, that should be a wake-up call for the right, that sidling up to Trump and making him the candidate for 2024 is going to be a losing proposition. Yes, he's got a cultish following of a few million folks who still think, he's the strong man that can save us from the woke left. But I got news for you folks, he ain't. And I think there's enough people in the Republican Party that realize that. As I said, a few shows ago, the New York Post is coming down on Trump hard. I think some pundits are going to start, some, not all, but some will start breaking ranks. I hope if they want the Republican Party to survive the 2024 election, they should do that. Now, I predicted when Trump got into office in 2016 that was the death of the Republican Party. Now, this remains to be seen, but we're inching up pretty close to it. And I don't mind that happening. I think the Republican Party needs to be replaced with the American Capitalist Party, to be honest with you. We need the statists, populist, demagogic elements of that party to just gravitate over to the left, which is where they belong. The statists all belong on the left, and let real liberty ring from a party that stands for individualism.
Yeah, I think your prediction was right. It's not going to be seen overnight, but the midterms after Trump got elected, the midterms 2 years later were, in the Democrats' favor, which is generally expected. So, that the incumbent party would suffer after a presidential election. So nobody made that much of it. But then 2020 comes around again. So many people voted against Trump that it was like it was an historical event. Then 2022 comes about, and this time it's like you got everything in your favor as a Republican. The incumbent party is Democrat. Trump, I don't know, whatever it is that you think
we're in a recession. Energy's through the roof. Gas prices are triple what they were before. I mean, you have every economic indicator telling you 75% of the population hates where the country's going. This should have been a tsunami, because they offer nothing except anti-wokeness or anti-leftness. They offer no positive platform. I mean, Newt Gingrich tried to insert that in there, right? Through him, they tried to get another contract with America going, but I don't think they have the gravitas to do it. So they have a negativist platform that's based on just being reactionary and against what the left is proposing. That means the left is morally the aggressor, as they always are. That's why they win. And the right is just reactionary and anti-moral in the way that they set up the argument, and always lose. So yeah, and until somebody can offer a positive platform that's about that unconditionally asserts an individual's right to exist for his own sake, they're not going to win anything. Not for long term.
Not for a while after the shit show, excuse my language, that Trump brought about. It really rubs people the wrong way. And right after the midterms, you started seeing prominent people on the right, conservatives, saying like, okay, so Trump didn't work out for us. Time to accept that. DeSantis is the guy. But first of all, it's like, yeah, good luck, getting this Trump guy to go away quietly. And Trump's continued to hurt his own brand and the Republican brand by proxy since that time. And
I mean, one thing that should define somebody in the political class is timing, the capacity to read the room and time events according to what you're reading, not sacrificing your integrity to do that, but to understand that. And what did Trump come out with? Sort of right after this, those damn trading cards, those digital trading cards. I mean, the cheesiest, worst thing you could possibly do. I mean, great for me, because I was hoping people would see, oh, this guy's like a fraudulent Barnum and Bailey. I mean, just, let him, now you can see what a fraud he is. Let him go. But just terrible timing. And that right there should disqualify the guy from presidential candidacy in 2024.
Yeah, I wonder if the people around him were telling him like, oh, like you'll reach the crypto bros, you'll show how in touch you are with the crypto community by putting out these NFTs. It
was the comment during that stupid commercial. I'm better than Lincoln, better than Washington. Okay, it was that, and that's 2 sentences into his pitch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and he released that video on Twitter. I mean, looking back, it's like, holy F, these stuff that Trump tweeted and said over the years. Like he posted that video that shows him like Trump 2022, Trump 2024, like just showing Trump 2030, just like showing Trump winning every 4 years until like 2080. This was like a video he posted. And of course, people are like, haha, that's funny. He's triggering the snowflakes and all that. But it's like, this guy has no respect, and his supporters have no respect for facts. They have like no respect for truth. That's why he can just say, yeah, like I'm better than Lincoln. And people are like, yeah, I think he is better than Lincoln. Like as long as all the people who hate Trump are upset by what he's saying, they'll support what he says. We got 200 SEKs. That's the Swedish krones, I think, from Free Trade. He says, Happy New Year, guys. Thanks for all the content during the past year. Well, thank you, Free Trade. Talk about trade. He just helped the network with his disappointingly low worth currency. You hear 200, you get excited, and then you're like, Mr. Producer, if you can tell us what that's worth in USD, I'll contain my excitement. Robert with $2 says the list of DJT's disqualifying remarks is, and then there's like the sideways 8 symbol. I'm a little confused.
Infinite, it's infinite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Donald J. Trump's disqualifying remarks. Yeah. So speaking of Trump's friends and people he met with since the midterms, make further nailing his grave. Kanye West went off a bit of a deep end. He seems to have spent a little bit too much time on the underbelly of the internet, and he is finally getting some things off his chest, his views about the Jews. And it started with, some Jews have tricked him in business or given him bad contracts, which I'm skeptical, by the way, because if he's really a billionaire, I would say the Jews around him have looked out for him pretty well. But let's say he's got a bone to pick with some Jewish people. You got to be careful saying that. You got to be a little bit more sensitive than he was, to put it lightly. And then he just starts hanging out with Nick Fuentes. He starts going around on the Alex Jones show, on the Gavin McInnes show, saying stuff like the Holocaust numbers are inflated. Just, I mean, as low as you can sink with your rhetoric, Kanye went there.
Well, I think this is what the Greeks referred to as hubris, right? When somebody gets a little too big for their bridges, reality comes and slaps them down. Now, I don't know if Kanye is hip to reality. He seems to be losing his grip on it as the months go by. but he certainly got slapped down. If he thought he was impervious to cancellation, if he thought he was impervious to the market, he was wrong. He can't say anything with impunity and not feel the sting of that. Now, today we live in a society where people who don't deserve to be canceled are, and the reasons are specious. But in this case, it's right on. And him losing his endorsements, what was it, for Adidas and some clothing lines, fully appropriate for the crazy things that he's saying. And if he thinks he can still get away with it, he's in for a really big surprise.
Yeah. By the way, 200 Swedish krona is $19.18 American. That actually is a really nice super chat. I realize my disparaging remarks were a little bit unappreciative. So thank you, Free Trade, for your support. So another person who kind of rose and fell in the same year, some would say, I would say he kind of fell, but time will tell, is a guy named Andrew Tate. Are you familiar with Mr. Tate?
He's the former kickboxer, right? And
yeah,
he's a guy who tweeted recently, reading books is for losers.
Yeah, he says that type of thing all the time. And he's like semi-in character, semi-satirical. So you could never really, you could never accuse him of espousing anything. But I think he's a little bit of a loser. There's more to life than how much money you have in the bank. His primary approach to women seems to be dangling money in front of them. And that, to me, is a sign of insecurity. It's the opposite of the sort of redeeming elements of aristocracy. A guy like Andrew Tate, all he does is tell people, don't be educated. All he wants to do is convince everyone that all women care about his money and that he's got a lot of it, so he can have any woman and as many of them as he wants. But that, to me, is insecurity. I mean, wealth is a wonderful thing, but if you lead with money, that's your primary kind of calling card. That's the first thing you tell someone about yourself is, I have money. I have money. That's pretty pathetic.
Yeah, I mean, he is the poster boy for toxic masculinity. Well, he's getting his comeuppance, right? Apparently he was accused of starting a little criminal ring that was involved in sex trafficking, right? And so now it looks like he, it may be indicted or go away for a little while, depending on what they can pin on him. This is a Romanian sex ring, I guess. That's where he does his business. So, what goes around comes around. You preach that philosophically and ethically vacuous ethics of, pure materialism, pure looks, all superficiality. It's going to come around and bite you in the butt, because it's not a long-term way to look at the world. But he was a good fighter. He was like 79-6. So, and I saw a couple of his fights. He's pretty handy.
It seems like fighters have really poor opinions that they want to get out there. Like Jake Shields, I guess, is a fighter who's also out there tweeting all types of hot takes.
Yeah, his hot takes tend to be that weird conservative conspiracy thing. And who knows, maybe he's taking a few shots to the head. His jiu-jitsu is really good, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's what we say.
Smart on the mat. He's smart on the mat.
Yeah, can't take that away from him. We got 199 from Note Beam. Thank you for that. Don't recognize this user. It looks like a person with a guitar of some kind. Nice to have artists here around us. So Andrew Tate got arrested. He basically started tweeting, picking a fight with, so first his kind of rise was he became insanely popular around March or April or sometime in spring or late winter of this year. Insanely popular. He found a way to get a bunch of people to post his own clips because it gets them to funnel people over to his pyramid scheme, which then they get a cut of the action if people sign up. So he incentivized people to post his clips everywhere, all over social media, and that made him insanely popular for a while. But then he got insanely deplatformed and basically scrubbed off of all social media. But then Elon, of course, reinstated him, at which point Tate picked a fight with Greta Thunberg. Oh, when we needed her most, she returned.
Oh, that's right. And they were able to tell from the video, right, that the pizza place that he was at was in Romania, so they were able to locate him over there.
Yeah, he tweeted at Greta Thunberg. He's like, here's all the cars that I own and their low mileage, whatever. Like, here's how much they pollute. If you want a full list of my cars, please give me your email. And she tweeted back at him, yes, please enlighten me. It's email is smalldickenergy@getalife.com. I don't know what kind of accent that was. Yeah, she said that. Yeah, she's way cooler than he is. I keep telling people, Andrew Tate is not cool. He is not cool. Guys who think Andrew Tate gets chicks are like young and confused.
Yeah, he might get girls, but they're really stupid. And
they're into money. He gets strippers. I mean, he pays women. That is not game. So he's not that cool. Hassan Piker from the left is smoother with women, I'm sure, than Andrew Tate. And that guy is a hippie looking doofus. By the way, Nathan Smith with $10. Thank you for that. He says, Happy New Year. So yeah, Andrew Tate then made a video in response to Greta Thunberg where he's like, just riffing and looking like he's having the best day of the year, just laughing and trolling her some more. And then someone hands him a pizza while he's talking, and it says Jerry's Pizza on it, which is apparently a chain in Romania, and that gave Romanian authorities the tip that he's in Romania so they can arrest him, and they did. And so now he's in trouble. Yeah,
but it's for sex trafficking too, right? Like he started a little criminal gang. He and his brother start a little enterprise, and they were like trying to pin women into prostitution.
I don't know. I know originally, after he was a fighter, his big success in business was hiring webcam girls, basically girls who get paid to hang out on a webcam, talk to men on video. Like he basically managed them and got a bunch of them working for him.
He was a pimp.
In effect, which of course should be perfectly legal. But now when I hear he's being arrested for sex trafficking, I don't know if he's doing something like that, which may or may not be legal. I don't know if that's legal in Romania, or if sex trafficking means he's actually, trafficking people against their will, which of course would be a huge thing.
It seems like something he would do. I'm just saying. Because he's not about that. He's about the money. He's about the thing that comes after it. He's the opposite of Andrew.
And his rhetoric all day is about how cool Genghis Khan is and how, raping a third of the planet is an alpha move. So like, if that's how you present yourself all day, I mean, people, we're not going to give you the benefit of the doubt necessarily, but at the same time, he deserves his day in court. So we'll see how this plays out.
Live by the sword, die by the sword. There you go.
Marilyn with $5. Thank you for that. All right. So that's Andrew Tate, the latest. He definitely rose and some would say fell all in the same year. Speaking of Twitter, we got Elon Musk having quite a year. He decided to buy Twitter, and he ended up doing it after several months of like legal complications where I think he wanted to back out of the deal, but now he was committed to it. So he ended up needing to buy Twitter, and he's kind of winging it. He's kind of figuring it out as he goes, putting a lot of major policy decisions in the hands of the poll voters on Twitter. So it's quite interesting to see how this is playing out.
Yeah, I'm not into that. I don't think you should make business decisions based on polls. Mm-hmm. But, I haven't noticed any differences in the... It seems to me the content has gotten a little bit more civil, but I don't know. I could be wrong. I haven't noticed all the things that the hysterical left are noticing, but maybe I'm just not tuned in.
I wouldn't blame Elon Musk directly for this, but definitely like some Holocaust denier, extreme like anti-Semites have returned to Twitter after being banned previously. But I don't think Elon personally, or not necessarily anyone personally at Twitter made that decision by weighing that decision. It was more like, let's just bring a bunch of people back who were previously banned and kind of hit reset. So yeah, Elon, he seems to be making decisions either by posting these polls, or kind of like arbitrarily. He says he won't bring Alex Jones back because Elon lost a child as an infant. And so the idea of like Alex Jones upsetting the Sandy Hook families is a bridge too far. Whereas Elon Musk will reinstate many other people. So it's kind of like what Elon emotionally responds to seems to be the criteria, which of course is his.
I mean, that's sort of the criteria of the people who were banning folks when they were on the left, right? Banning people on the right. That's what they can do. It's their platform. They can do whatever they want with it. And I think you and I would agree on that. It's stupid. We don't think it's long-term to just go with your impulses in that way. But, it's their space. Let them do what they want.
No, definitely let them do what they want. It'll be interesting to see. My prediction is Twitter will be a dumpster fire. I think it will be the next either like Parler or BitChute or one of these places where just like the conspiracy quacks have like the loudest voice. And that's my prediction. But hey, I could be wrong. Maybe Twitter will be an enormous success story. You really, who knows?
It already has been an enormous success story.
Right, but looking ahead, it could go the way I'm predicting, which is that it becomes an embarrassing broken link, basically, like a shady dumpster fire. That
really?
That's what I think could happen. Could. Okay. Kirk Wilcox with $2 says, criticizing Elon Musk. What are you, on the left? He super chats because he wants me to do the voice. What are you, on the left? So yeah, Twitter, we'll see what happens. Kanye West fell from grace, went from the most popular human being on earth in music and in fashion to maybe gonna end up losing it all. And thanks to misinformation spread by people like Candace Owens, people are acting like the Jews at the bank, like cut off Elon Musk, right? Or not Elon Musk, Kanye West, like he was cut off from his bank and lost access to his money, which is just such a lie. It's just so not true. But, if his Apple Pay stops working, right, because Adidas's credit card linked up to it was discontinued, then of course Kanye goes to the internet and says, "Yo, now they're cutting off my funding." It's absolute. The internet brings like hot-headed, range of the moment conspiracy conclusions to the biggest audience on earth. So it's a recipe for disaster. The internet is. Speaking of the biggest audience on earth, 8 billion people are now roaming planet Earth. I heard before we went live. So that's nice.
Thank God for industrial farming. And industrial farming and industrial food production. That's what has enabled us to go from whatever paltry number we had so many centuries ago to 8 billion. And we can support more. Bring it on. More humans are better.
Oh, yeah. And capitalism, liberty, allow these people to live where they want, to build where they want, and to trade how they want, and just watch this barely exploited planet become just a wonderful place full of wealth, joy, and good times. So welcome, 8 billion. Let's get to 9 by 2023, or, well, a little late for that, but 2024. Let's try. Everyone, get busy, if you know what I mean. Allie with $2 says, I'm late to this TDO, but Happy New Year. Well, Happy New Year to you too. And final item I have on the list is Roe v. Wade was overturned. That's a very low moment. Probably another reason that the red wave became a red wedding in the midterms.
I think so, because they put there was a lot of abortion propositions on most of the ballots. So I think people were reminded of the fact that now abortion has been thrown to the states, and states can choose to ban it or put whatever conditions they want to on it. Now, some on the conservative constitutionalists said this is probably think this is appropriate. It's the way the federalist system is supposed to operate. States have co-equal power with the federal government, and this is properly in the hands of the states. I don't think so, because it's a fundamental rights issue, and I think it's something that should be decided at the federal level and should apply to every state equally. Right. So this is something that the Supreme Court should have decided, not thrown back to the states. So it is a scary day, and a number of states have taken that pass and used it to create some pretty onerous anti-abortion law.
Yeah. And producer Daniel says we're 8 million's over 8 billions already, by the way. I think that's Eastern European speak for like we're already at 8 million above 8 billion. So we're getting there. So now that abortion is basically under threat, maybe we'll have more babies, I guess. Kathleen with £2 says, will ARC UK's fave Twitter guy do TDOs next year? Yeah, we're working on getting him. He's very busy watching Tesla sink into the ground. Allie Beard with $5 says, Mark, is your New Year resolution to continue hammering out on Twitter trolls? Don't kill me for the joke. You do well and have colorful phrasing, lol.
No, I'm gonna try to wean myself out of beating up Twitter trolls.
Well, there's a resolution. Any other resolutions now that we have reviewed the year? Anything you're planning on working on in this upcoming year?
Just to put up more reality checks and to keep hammering away at the culture. I've got 3 scripts in the works. Hopefully, one of those can get produced and put out there in the world, and we can start turning shit around.
That's exactly right. My resolution is to keep going to the gym. I'm getting there. It's going to take a little bit more time, but when we get to the same weight class, time for an ARCUK tournament, everybody. Apollo Zeus with £2 says, Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good times. Good year. Thanks, Mark. Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Enjoy your Pennsylvania version of what New Year's Eve is like.
Going to Philadelphia for New Year's, so it'll be fun.
Sounds like some cheesesteak, deep fried everything, and lots of beer. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful New Year's Eve and a New Year's Day. Leave a super thanks on this video on YouTube to support the network and hit that join button to become a member. Thank you all. Happy New Year and goodbye.
Peace.